Welcome to Nice Try Multisport Coaching and Rentals. My name is Dan Jarecki, and I'm going to talk to you for a few moments about the RATs, which are the Rochester Area Triathletes Run Bike Run held in Canandaigua, New York. Nice Try Coaching is going to be hosting this event, and it's the first one we've had in its area. For those of you that don't know where Canandaigua is, it's here on the screen at the north end of Canandaigua Lake, appropriately enough. It's southeast of Rochester, about 25 miles or so. To get there, exit 44 off the thruway for those of you that are coming from Rochester, and 332 will take you right into the Canandaigua area proper. 332 turns into what they call Main Street, and you'll see all the buildings and shops and so on in the town proper. So this is where the event is going to be held. It's going to be held the first Wednesday of every month. We may add other days as well, but for the time being, we're just going to start with that first Wednesday of every month. April 6th is going to be the first Run Bike Run. Eventually, we're going to move these into the lake, and they will be swim bike runs, but it's still a little chilly in April to do that. So expect that change later on. But for right now, this is where Kershaw Park is, at the north end of the lake. That's where we'll be swimming eventually. But let me point out a couple of landmarks here. I'm going to go to the satellite map so I can do that. Most people are familiar with the Canandaigua Wegmans on Route 5 and 20. This is the east-west route, 5 and 20. And just before you get to the Canandaigua Wegmans, there's a Starbucks and a Burger King, and that's where I would recommend hanging a right onto the side street and then take your first left. We'll be parking in this area, and I'll zoom in just a moment to show you where we're going to be parking. But this is Steamboat Landing Restaurant, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. If you happen to go blowing by Canandaigua Wegmans and you missed your turn, then you can make the first right after Wegmans and then right again on Lakeshore Drive. And then so this is the Steamboat Landing, and they call it that because there's a big steamboat during the summer that people take tours around the lake with and so on. So we're going to get zoomed in here. This is a Steamboat Landing Restaurant. Park here to the northeast as much as you can. Stay as far away from the restaurant proper as possible. That would be appreciated. And we're going to be meeting, the map shows us hanging a right and going down the road just a smidge. That's not quite right. Basically, we'll park here and then walk directly across the street. And that's where the transition area is going to be. That's where the run is going to start. But the run map is identical to what you're seeing here. This loop, again, starts in this area. And we're hopefully going to have an orange cone or a marker across the trail so you'll know where it starts, but that'll be obvious. You'll see all the bikes and so on being prepped here for transition area. Like I said, show up around 6 o'clock. Make sure you're a RATS member, signed up and ready to go. You can't compete in these events unless you are a RATS member. I should also mention that these events are not races. They're just group workouts, so they are timed so you can track progress throughout the year, but it's not technically a race. This circuit around this the purple area here is 1 mile, and the run course is going to be 2 laps around that 1 mile loop. So there's a gravelly, very fine cinder nature trail that we're going to be running around here. It's really quite pretty. The course is going to be pretty obvious, and I'm going to make sure if it's not obvious that it'll be marked so you know where to go, but you really can't get lost here. So you'll start out at 6:30 promptly. We're going to start the event, and I'll explain the rules there at about 6:20 so everybody's familiar with them again. But the idea is whenever you see an orange marker, you'll be assigned a number at the start of the event, and when you run by that orange marker, you need to shout out your number. So if you're assigned number 7, every time you go by that orange cone or the orange mark on the road, yell out number 7, and that way the scorers can record your time. If you don't remember your number, or if you forget to yell it out, you will not be scored. Your time will not be kept. So when the event starts, we'll all head down this way. There's only one trail. You can't get lost, or else you'll go in the water or run into these houses. This little bridge here heads you toward Wegmans. You'll start to see the southeast corner of Wegmans as you're heading across that little bridge. And then the trail ducks back in and runs along several little bodies of water. There's only one wrong turn that you could possibly make, and I believe it's in this area. There's a fork in the road that kind of cuts through here, I'm pretty sure, but I'll make sure that that's marked so everybody knows where to go. And don't be concerned by this. This picture was taken before the bridge was built. You don't have to swim across here, so you'll just go across the bridge, and again, yell out your number when you go by the transition area, and we'll come back around for lap number 2. So this is the most important part of this event, because this is what's different than other run bike runs and swim bike runs in the area, is that we have to cross this street, Lakeshore Drive, a couple times, and we'll get into the bike course in just a moment. But this road is live. We're not going to have people here stopping traffic. So the timed area will be just this circular route on the run course. You will not be timed by how quickly you can transition and how quickly you can get across the road. In fact, just the opposite. When you yell out your number for the second time and you finish your second lap, take your time, transition, get into your bike gear, get your helmet on. When you go across the road and you start riding your bike, that's when the bike course time will begin. So essentially, if you want to sit here for 5 minutes and have a drink of water and chill out and relax, you're not going to be penalized for sitting there for 1 minute or 5 minutes. You're not timed on transitions. You're just timed on the run portion and the bike portion of the course. So again, make sure there's no traffic on the road here. It serves no purpose to blitz across that road. So make sure every car is a long ways off, or that there are no cars coming at all, and then get started on your way. And again, once you start out, and there's going to be an orange mark on the road here, you have to yell out that number. Again, I'm number 7, something like that. So we know who you are, because there should be, or could be, quite a few people here. The other thing I wanted to mention, April 6th is the first start date. Obviously, if there's snow or foul weather, we will move that back, but stay tuned. If you're on the RATS mailing list, stay tuned for that email, and you can go to the Nice Try Facebook blog and web page, and we're going to update it there as well. So the bike course is going to start on Lakeshore Drive and hang this first right at this intersection, and I'm going to switch maps for just a minute. Let's see. And actually, this is not a bad view. This is the bike course in its entirety, and you can see the little green dot is where we just started, and we're going to head south on Route 364, which is East Lake Drive, for 6.5 miles, and then we're going to hang a 180 and come back and end. You'll notice that the end is in a different location than the start, and I'm going to explain that as well. So let's see, we'll zoom in a couple of times here. So this is where we explained the transition area was before. We're going to go down Lakeshore Drive and turn that first right. There's 200 feet of climbing over 6.5 miles, so that's not a lot. The hills are primarily rolling, so it's not too terribly bad. In fact, here's the elevation profile. There's a little bit of a climb around starting at the 4-mile mark to about the 6.5 mile mark, and it gets a little bit steep. It's not too bad, but the way back you can see is primarily downhill. As you're headed back into town, it's going to be mostly downhill riding. So we'll head south. We were going to turn around at this roadway, but after looking at that, that's kind of a blind turn. So we're going to cut the course a little bit short here. That's an important change. So it's at the 6.5 mile mark. This number 7 is obscuring the number 6. It's over the top, but this is 6.5 miles. There's a little farmhouse there, and I posted a picture of that on the blog so you could sort of see what that looks like. But I'll be spray painting mileage markers along the bike lane here so you can see the mileage count off in nice bright orange paint. And I'll also spray this turnaround area at the 6.5 mile mark. So after we start heading back into town, remember it's a downhill fast ride on the way in, and this is the most important part. This is where things get a little bit different. Excuse me, there's a stoplight here, and there's really no good way to make this last portion here on Lakeshore Drive a timed portion of the course. So the bike portion of the Run Bike Run actually ends here at this intersection, and we'll have a scorer. There's a restaurant here. We're going to have a scorer here taking time, and again, there's an orange mark on the road. You need to yell out your number when you cross that orange mark. So that's very, very important. If you don't yell out your number, or if you forget your number, we won't know your time. You can see that restaurant right there, and we're going to have somebody right in that neck of the woods. So then if the light is red, if you want to just chill out for a minute and take your time and cruise back to the transition area, you're not going to be penalized, nor will you be timed for that. So I called that a free zone. Take as much time as you want to get back to that transition area, get your running shoes on, and then we'll do the run course again, which is 2 laps around the same trails that you ran the first time. So that's the run, the bike, and the run. So again, the free zones are a little bit different. What's important here, number one, this is not a race. Have fun. It's a great big group workout. Come and enjoy. Stay tuned for weather updates. If it is not conducive to starting on April 6th, we will let you know. And if you run or bike past an orange marker, you need to yell out your number, and if you don't, you won't be timed. So we look forward to seeing you there, and should be a fun event and should have a pretty good turnout. So again, we look forward to seeing you there on April 6th at about 6 p.m.